to buy tickets, so we are so grateful for you guys for wanting to spend your Saturday with us. My name is Nina Wallace. I'm a freshman biology and community health double major at Howard University. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, by way of Philadelphia. Today, I will be your conference moderator along with Fatou and Vignette. Today, we have so much planned for you today, from all the guest speakers this morning to the Halima Aiden at tonight's fashion show. And words cannot describe how elated we are to have her come and speak to us. She was so excited when we invited her to speak at Howard University, because she speaks at a lot of universities, but when we told her, you know, Howard's an HBCU, and she was just so elated to talk to us. So as the conference goes on, in your registration package, you'll also find an evaluation form. As each of the speakers go, if you could please rate the speakers and fill out the forms and turn them back in as we leave the conference. So at the bottom of every page in your evaluation packet, you'll find a quote that states that Islam has raised the status of women from below the earth to so high that paradise lies at their feet. This is what Hijab Fest wants to emphasize, and how Islam honors the woman unlike any other system on this dunya. And as referenced in your welcome letters, the mission of this fest is to celebrate and honor the shapeshifters within our world that represent one of the largest markers of faith, the covering Muslim. So also, we have one of our students, Fatou, that's going to recite the hadith in Arabic after I read the translation. And Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, I enjoy you to treat women well, for the woman has created from a rib. The most curved part of the rib is its uppermost part. If you try to straighten it, you will break it. But if you leave it as it is, it will remain curved. Thus, I enjoy you to be good to women. So the first speaker that we have today is HU alumni. The first speaker that we have today is HU alumni, Janine Dillon.
It's a great pleasure to be here with you all this morning at a landmark event. I am a Howard University alumni from the 90s. My daughter is here today participating and actually hosting this event. Originally, we had planned a small segment where we had some of the other sisters that were in the area. We were going to just come up and do a little small presentation. Some of them are still in transition, so we're going to kind of, make shift past that. But just in brief, I'll share a little bit more about myself and my journey in Islam and being a Muslim on Howard's campus here's one of my sisters here. We're just kind of doing a makeshift, because some of the sisters won't be here. This is also one of our esteemed Howard alumni. Okay, yeah, so I'll just come back, just letting you know that we were going to do a little small recognition of some of us here. And so in brief, I'll share a little bit about myself, and then Aaliyah can share a little bit about herself. Again, we're very excited to be a part of the next generations that are kind of torturing on with their leadership here at Howard University. And for myself, I'm originally from Oakland, California, and I came into the dean about my junior year under the leadership of Imam Fahim Shuaib and the Master at Work Dean community. As a Howard University student, I studied psychology and education, and also had chosen to get married in college. I had my first son going into my senior year, so we were a married couple here on campus. Shortly after graduation, or even before I had graduated, I started working very closely with the Clara Muhammad School community here, where I taught social studies and language arts, working with Imam Salim there. And then over the years, we then took the direct classroom education experience, and then we moved that into a nonprofit organization, also with some fellow Howard alumni, Faraz Shakur and Latifah Barnett, where we formed what we call the Foundation for Islamic Education, with an intent to try to more so analyze the resources that was available for us as Muslims trying to develop Islamic education. And in that capacity, we worked not only with the Imam Muhammad community, but all the other communities that were surrounded here in DMV, just to analyze and see what was going on and to see why the disparities were between this community and that community, and who had access to resources and who didn't, and what could we do to also provide the resources that were needed, whether they were financial or administrative, like seeking accreditation and things like that. So those were some of the things that we began to do with that effort. And then, and so alhamdulillah, that taught us a lot, you know, just in regards to really analyzing what is going on for us as we look to try to secure those environments for our children. After that phase of life, I returned back to my home state of California, but then after a couple of years of being there, I then embarked in an overseas experience where my husband and my young children at the time, we then went on to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where I lived for 8 years. And there, some of the things that we did, let me see, a lot of little things that happened there. One of the main things when I got to Kuala Lumpur, I just began to have a voice for children's literature. You know, it's so good for us to just go into different environments and then all of a sudden new things speak to you. I never thought about myself as an author or a writer or anything, but I just started hearing stories. And when you get international, you have so many people always inquiring about who you are, where are you from? And then it really made me begin to pay attention to what is my story and where is my community. And then you begin to long for the things that we took for granted, the bean pie and the culture and the tradition, you know, stuff we like at home, you know. So, you know, you really see how, you really appreciate your story when you can get away from it for a minute and kind of, you know, have some time to reflect on it. So with that idea, like, I started developing some children's literature. So I think I have a few sets we'll be selling later on the vendor table. So I kind of created something called the Poetic Justice Quranic Reading for Children. I had a bean pie book, Did You Get Your Paper book, Have You Heard Bridie's Message, just to name a few. Also in Southeast Asia, I have founded and directed a Claire Muhammad homeschooling initiative where I taught children from all over the world, experiencing firsthand the intrinsic value of international exposure and experience for African American students, or just American students living in international waters. Myself and my husband, we had an opportunity to put in a bid. At the time, Malaysia had an up-and-coming government city called Putrajaya. Their capital city is Kuala Lumpur, but they were moving everything to this Putrajaya environment. And so it was like a city built at once. And so they had schools and things that were open so you can put in bids to try to secure different environments. So it was really exciting. We didn't end up getting the bid, but it was great to be in the running where we were proposing for an international Claire Muhammad High School, where we could have an environment where we could actually bring, you know, Muslims from America out into an international environment. And even though we didn't get the bid, it needs to be recognized at the vision of where we can take our educational efforts. Sometimes we just, you know, we keep always putting so much limitation on where we are as a community, and we keep looking so much in the past and bickering versus just setting a new vision on where it can go. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about that effort. And also in the homeschooling initiative, again, this wasn't, you know, only Black environment. You know, sometimes the Claire Muhammad leadership always feels like it only can cater to one people. No, we can be leaders for all people. I always had Iranian, Malaysian people wanting to come to me just as an African American to experience what we had to share in Islam. And so, you know, again, it's a world recognized, you know, experience, but you just have to be trustful of it and confident and not limited in that. And so after that journey, I then came back here to the United States with a more heightened interest in what I'm calling indigenous Aboriginal American culture, because I began to realize when you move out of the United States, there's a lot of Black all over the world and stuff ain't all like what I thought it was, and I began to relook at who I am more closely, understanding, even to better understand our information here in America and who we are as a people. So I participated a lot, you know, with Black History Month and those types of situations just to continue to strengthen the knowledge and culture. And then, and I'm just going to kind of just speed this up, but participating in that, and now I'm currently the mother of 7 children, 23 to 10. I have 5 boys and 2 girls, and the majority of the ones that are still living in the home, of course, some of them are getting older. We're now residing in Georgia, So we drove up from that event, and so we're going to continue on to look at the Human Rights Initiative and restorative justice measures and how those remedies could actually be a vehicle that we can use as an Indigenous American community to be able to build stronger communities with the resources and things that we need. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm just going to briefly pass this over to Sister Aaliyah here, and she can share a little bit about herself as well. She's a little bit younger than me, you know, but still I watched her come into Howard University. Her family was always welcoming. And as she's also sharing her experience with her mom being here, is just reminding me, also just really quick, one thing I wanted to emphasize as students here at Howard University, you have to be beyond the university. The community is the piece that really is going to be your strength, you know, and it's easy for a student to get boxed in. One thing I think the 90s group was really active about was that we attended Juma off campus, sometimes Eids, so we knew the community around us. Yeah, we used to go to the masjid together as groups and get in touch with the community. And then you get to meet people so you can go to homes. And I mean, we used to have I have pictures, you know, from the Hashem's home, you know, where we would sit together and then you can see how families operated. So it's so important to also see how you can take your Islam and your efforts beyond the Howard campus and then go into the broader community as well, because at the end of the day, that's still going to be your network there. So.
Sorry, we have to introduce.
Okay.
We have Esma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Right now we have Esma El-Mabudi that is going to be reciting some Quran for us.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I just want to say thank you to the Muslim Student Association for allowing me to be here today and recite here.